Hello, and thank you for joining me for this proposal of a 4-day workweek business plan for Frosty Industries. Um, we went through a research and decided what we wanted to do for our schedule change. We wanted to change from 4 days or 5 days to 4 days now instead. So a little bit of what we're going to be going over today will be the proposal, like why we want the 4-day work week and what benefits and stuff come from that. Then we'll go over the executive summary. We'll also go through the introduction of how we're going to phase through the 4-day work week. And then we'll go through our findings of what other companies have done already across the globe. And then we'll go over our analysis and then a conclusion. So, for starters, what is a 4-day work week? A 4-day work week is, well, there's a bunch of different ways you can do it. It's pretty much giving 1 day off during the week instead of working all 5 days. So there's different ways you can do that. But the first proposal is work 4 days, about 32 hours. That way, and still get paid for the full 40. And then there's also, you can work 4 10-hour shifts. That way you still get your 40 hours. And then the company still pays you for 40 hours since you work 40 hours. Companies are testing it because it's improving employee happiness and overall work-life balance. Companies also see a benefit from this, from seeing an increase in productivity. Employees like the change because they're at work less and they really enjoy not having to work as much. Since COVID, people really started to see the difference in working less and really valued a work-life balance more than being at work 40 plus hours a week. And like back then, Henry Ford established the 4-day or 5-day work week, and that really changed a lot. That was with the Industrial Revolution, but now with the technology revolution, it is being more common that it's a 4-day work week. Some of the key statistics are there's a 71% reduction in employee burnout, which is huge, because that also increases productivity for companies. When you're not as burnt out, you can do more, and you don't dislike your job as much. You can give your company more. There's been a worldwide study. Well, they started in like United Kingdom, and they started this with businesses. And there's been 97% of employees that want to continue with a shorter week that have gone through this study. And 60% of companies reported easier employee recruitment, which makes sense because that's a very big marketing idea when you can recruit people easier by offering that as a benefit. And 39% of those companies that were studied in that study saw performance increases. And companies piloting a 4-day work week saw a 42% increase in overall productivity, not just employee performance, which goes hand in hand. You can see a graph there. It shows happiness up and efficiency, and they're both exactly what you would want. Some of the employer benefits are higher employee retention, which is huge. People are wanting to stay at their company, which makes the company spend less money by having to hire new people all the time, not lose money by having to train people, and just keeping an overall healthy work environment, which is also huge for overall happiness. They're seeing less time off, people taking less time off, which is also good for business because they don't feel the need to take as much time off with already having that 5th day off. Whereas in a normal 5-day work week, you start to get burnt out more and want to take more time off, where the best ability is availability, and having people show up is great. It's showing employees are having better focus and fewer distractions by focusing on getting their work done instead of just, oh, I got another day to do work, might as well save that for tomorrow. Or they're trying to get all their work done so they can keep up. their schedule, because they can always be changed if they're not keeping up with the work that they need to. Stronger employer branding, it's getting their name out there better and shows that they're a good company to work for and that people want to actually be working there and take their time staying with that company instead of moving on. Employers are also seeing a lot of cost savings by not having to keep the business open for one, whereas 5 days, that's an extra day of having to have the bills being paid and just higher operational costs. They're also saving on potential risk of injury and stuff like that by having people there less time, which helps because burnout can lead to safety incidents where they're not seeing that as much now because they're not there as often and can be well rested and have a positive work-life balance. There's some common concerns. The first one is, will productivity suffer? Well, the data actually shows the opposite. And we'll go back to the slide there. There's a 71% reduction in employee burnout. And they saw a 42% increase in productivity. Fear of missed deadlines, they're not really seeing that because they're tracking employee productivity instead. And they're giving them deadlines to meet this and they're ensuring that it happens. They're not tracking how much time they're actually working, they're tracking the amount of work that they're actually getting done. There's the need for schedule change around there. So let's just say like there's certain businesses that can't do this, like a bank banks could, but like hospitals, the police, fire department, where they could do like a Monday through Thursday, one shift works, and the next shift works Tuesday through Friday. That way they still have mostly full coverage the majority of the week, but then the employees still get their day off and they're just rotating on the schedule. Which that also helps the misalignment between departments because that keeps the flow going by having that overlap per se. There's also there's a lot of employee happinesses increase. Reported stress has dropped about 70% overall, which is huge for lifestyle. People have a work-life balance satisfaction of 85%, and that is huge. And overall employee happiness increased by 78%, which keeps them wanting to stay at their company, keeps them healthier, overall more happiness of being at work instead of being not happy with what they work with and wanting to leave. So you can implement this change with like a pilot period of like 8 to 12 weeks just to see how it's going to play out and what changes may or may not need to be made. You can poll the employees and see how they're responding to it. And then once that pilot period is over, you can decide if you want to continue it or not. And then you can measure output and efficiency by, or measure the actual output instead of the hours, which can show you what actually work got done instead of just, oh, you worked for this many hours. And then we kind of talked about survey the employee experience weekly, just see how they're feeling about it. And you can also survey the managers, how they're feeling about their employees working these type of hours. And you can also adjust the meeting schedules so that they align better with being able to get more work done compared to just making most of the day just meetings, which doesn't help anything. You can communicate the expectations clearly to be able to know exactly what you want your employees to be able to do instead of just kind of setting it in stone. You can track the KPIs, productivity, efficiency, and burnout with a lot of things. I know that like there's different ways to track efficiency, like with machine metrics. You can track like like a production shop, you can track overall downtime with that by putting in downtime codes, and you can kind of find the key problem, like what's going on with why is this not running or so. And there's also OEEs, which is overall operator efficiency. And there's for a job, there's like a routing for how much you should get done and what it's going to pay out for minutes. There's a formula that you put in, and then it shows how much work you're getting done in the production type of shop compared to or you can track in this, or like a software engineer, you can see how much code they got done for the day. IT, you can track how many tickets they've done, they're closed, see how much they've done. This kind of talks more about that. You can talk about the output per employee to see how much each employee is doing and how effective that is compared to before the schedule change happened. See how your customers are doing, if they are getting their products at a reasonable time, or if it needs to go back and they need to meet deadlines better. And then you can see your overall employee well-being scores and how they are compared to before the change happened versus now, how they're enjoying 4-day work weeks. You can also see the profit per labor hour to justify the 4-day work week, or if they can do the 4 8-hour days for 32 hours, or if they need to go to the 4 10-hour days to get their actual 40. And then you can also measure turnover rate and see if you're losing a lot of employees, maybe the schedule change is not something for you. But if you're keeping a lot of employees, maybe it's something being done right. And then in the conclusion, the 4-day work week increases productivity, happiness, and retention, which are all the main factors. It works for both the employer and the employee. And data is strongly supporting shorter work weeks to overall employee happiness, and the positive work-life balance is the biggest thing. This type of proposal works best with focus on outcomes and not hours. That way you're meeting deadlines and not just trying to get hours worked, where it's more efficient to get stuff done compared to working more hours and still get the same amount done. And many companies adopting it permanently. Out of a lot of those that have adopted it across the world in that trial, they've stuck with it, they've enjoyed it, and they've seen a lot of benefits from it. So it is a great thing to be doing, and it could really be the future. And that's thank you for joining me today. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. I appreciate your time. Thank you.